Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. You and I are going to go out in this Volkswagen ID.7 for our first ever drive of the long wheelbase, sort of big hatchback, actually sedan, executive long range cruiser from Volkswagen. It really sort of to me feels like an electric Passat, if you will, but maybe even a bit more premium. There's so much to explore in this video. I'm going to walk you through the car, and we're going to head out for our first drive of the Volkswagen ID.7. Guys, well, you have to forgive me sitting in traffic explaining the ID.7 to you. We were at this little event here around the IAA in Munich. We're actually on our way to do BYD stuff. We're just filming left, right, center, so we had no time at all, but it was my first opportunity to drive the ID.7. I think we went for an over 30-minute drive. Great information, great impressions coming to you, but this intro is really filmed like crap, so I apologize for our poor filming quality up front, but you are going to get all the nerd info. I just want to explain ID.7 to you, so before we go into the drive, you can understand how I was approaching the car, and with some of the information we already know, especially for the US market, as I'm one of the first YouTubers in America to be able to drive this car. And the ID.7 is, I think, probably, just my prediction pessimistically, is not going to be the hottest electric Volkswagen model to come to our market. In fact, I think it's going to be the least popular. And I think some of this is shown because Volkswagen is choosing not to localize build production in Chattanooga. They are keeping the production in Zwickau or Emden, or one of the factories here in Germany for ID.7, and then shipping them over. So we already know tax credit right off the start is gone. Why they felt the need to bring a sedan to the American market, I'm not 100% sure, because I asked Pablo Desi, who's CEO of Volkswagen USA. I had a chat with him today, and we talked about North American charging standard stuff and, you know, things that I'll mention on our Out of Spec podcast coming up soon. So subscribe to that channel if you don't. Wow, look at this S600 bulletproof Maybach, or it's S560, excuse me, but a bulletproof one with the extra antennas. How cool is that? I asked him, why are you bringing a ID.7 to America? And he said, well, the American market is still 15% sedans. There's still a large following for this car. And he said, you'd be surprised, but there's been a lot of requests to get this car. And I guess this kind of makes sense to me, because I have a few friends who are interested in ID.7 that I would never expect to be interested in this car, and they just can't wait to get there. So okay, I think maybe we aren't all SUV lovers. We still have a big sedan fan base in America, and that's why they're bringing the car there. We're not 100% sure of the versions we're going to get in the US, but we know at least we will be getting a rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive 77 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack. It'll be the same battery that's in the ID.4, that's currently on sale. The Chattanooga one, I believe the SKI battery will get in this. You know, it's just my prediction. And we will also see, again, the rear-wheel drive version with 210 kilowatts, 280 something horsepower power output that will charge at 175 kilowatts, same as ID.4. And then there will also be the all-wheel drive version that has the new upgraded APP 550 juicy motor. We discussed this. And by the way, if you're curious about a full tour of the ID.7, I already have that on this channel, which is why I'm not taking you on another full tour of the car. I'll leave that linked in the description so you can watch the entire full front to back tour of the ID.7. This is just about the driving. There is also a larger battery pack that Volkswagen Group is going to offer, and I'll tell you about it in a second, but I need to check the navigation. Well, I figured out we need to bear to the left right here. So again, huge apologies to this video. Our microphones also died because we've been filming so much. So it's really I don't know, Alyssa, what's going on here?
It's just been a day, but you know, one day like this out of the year it's fine. We're doing good.
We're doing okay. Okay, so then the big battery is going to be 92 kilowatt hours gross, I think, and maybe 86 net. So maybe an additional roughly 10 kilowatt hours usable. And that one is going to be 700 kilometers WLTP. I'm not sure how that would play out in the EPA cycle, but I think for Volkswagen to bring this car to the US, they need a range hero. I think they really need to bring the biggest battery. They claim it will charge at 200 kilowatts. So it's going to be even faster charging, which means it's going to be higher voltage because the current cars already pull 500 amps. So this could be a really high 400 volt car. I have not charged this new big battery yet. It's also going to be, I think, the same battery that's going to be in the ID Buzz long wheelbase. And yeah, lots of exciting stuff going on with Volkswagen, but nothing really technology leading, if you will. No 800 volt systems, no 300 plus kilowatt charging. They're just good, stable cars available today. Well, ID.7 will be available and at the end of this year here in Europe. But what I mean by that is like ID.4 charges great, even though it doesn't have a big peak. It's got the curve. They're optimized once you start using them. So I'll walk you through the new software. We'll drive it, and then we'll finish up the video with our final thoughts. But I just wanted to give you a warning. Oof, this video is not the best filmed one out there, and we're not helping it with this clip at all.
No.
Okay, let's get into the drive. Well, you now join me inside of the ID.7 with Francisca. Thanks for joining.
Hi guys, it's a pleasure.
So your responsibility is this car.
Yes, I'm the spokesperson of the ID.7.
Great. So this is fantastic because we can learn directly from you. You know the car really well. Some things we saw when we previewed the car in New York a little while ago was we saw the roof doing this cool little thing, right?
You have to, yeah.
How does it? But maybe because
put
it's
power on it and then you can clear it. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Smart glass is
Yes.
the name we use for it.
Smart glass. Very cool. So we were just running through some of the HMI stuff here.
Okay.
And this is software 4.0.
Yes.
And so it's also on a 15-inch touchscreen, is it?
It is, seriously. So
Yep.
we come up always with the ID.7.
Yep. So it's awesome. This is all backlit here, and we've already taken our audience on a little bit of a tour of this in New York already. But just as a refresher, you pretty much have a completely new HMI, super snappy. I also just drove the ID.4. That'll be an upcoming video with this new screen, and this is just super snappy here in this car. So if we look here, you can set your charging limit, of course, 50 to 100%. Volkswagen still recommends 80% for daily driving, which is not unusual. One of my favorite features is when you're driving, no matter what, it will tell you the maximum charging power you can expect to receive if you plug it in at this exact moment to a charger that can give you everything. And this is really cool because if it's like really cold outside, you'll see this number go down. And then as you precondition to a charger, which this does support on-route preconditioning, it will raise up. So it helps, I think, new EV drivers learn, you know, inputs and temperature and all of these things and how it affects charging. Some really good stuff. Battery care mode, one of the best features in Volkswagen, I think, always goes back to 80%, even if you bump it up to 100 for the next charge. And then, you know, just general charging related topics. On the topic of navigation, we have our route in here right now, maybe at the end so we don't get lost. I'll show a route planning situation because have you taken this on a trip and done some route planning before?
This one?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And I had my charging stops and it worked really good. So I love the multi-stop route planner or route planner, you say.
Yeah.
And which tells you where the charging stations are, which kilowatt hours you can charge over there. And if they are free, you will have a really tiny green light on each station, which would pop up here.
Very nice. And of course it will warm up the battery on the way to the charger in winter time.
Preheating always in front of the next charging stop, and it tells you like you have to only charge 5 minutes, then you do another stop maybe 200 kilometers later for 10 minutes, and then you can reach your target where you want to go, and you have left 150 or whatever you wanted, so you can individualize.
Fascinating stuff. Love that. We'll definitely play around with that more at the end of driving. There's lots of other apps in here, things that we can do, and a lot of this is also just tailored to the German market. For example, WeCharge is something we don't have in the US, but this will show you where all the chargers are when it's connected. Ida, is this how you say it?
It's Ida, yeah.
Ida?
Oh, in
Okay.
German it's Ida, yeah, but
Okay.
I think you would say Ida.
Ida, yeah, and this is the voice assistant person. And yeah, what does she do anything interesting beyond the normal voice assistant?
I don't know. I think everybody is kind of funny. She has a bit of humor, and she has a really good online searching machine in the background. So you can ask her how many people are living in Munich, and she will tell you immediately. And she's sometimes kind of funny.
Okay, great. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. So a voice assistant with some personality.
Yeah, I think so. And you can give her a name whatever you want, because I like to have my car as a family member, and they all have names, and I would call her maybe Ruby when my car is red. And so you don't have to use Ida. You can
you can change the name
you want. Yes.
Cool, very cool. Sound system 700 watts, actually just over 700 watts, multiple speakers, dedicated subwoofer. We can't obviously show our YouTube viewers what it sounds like, but yeah, really looking forward to taking it on a trip, maybe towards the end of the year or next year, and we'll play around with
enjoying
this.
some big sound. And yeah, this is a premium feature.
Yeah, and just one last thing to show our audience is you guys will notice there's no interior air vents in here. Again, this is really about the driving of the car, but important to show these things. There's a little Klima button down here, and similar to like Tesla Model 3 or Model Y, you can move the vents around. You can actually turn off the vents as well just by tapping them, which is a really great feature because you can do this individually for each one. And so that's something that you can't do in Tesla. At least you can only shut off the individual sides, but here you can shut off each individual side of the vent. And in the back seat you also have your climate controls just down over here, which is great, and heated seats. So should we go for a drive?
Yes, of course. I'd love
The battery pack in this one is the 77 kilowatt hour
net battery.
Yep.
Yes.
And the rear-wheel drive only.
Yes.
So it uses the APP 550 motor, is the new MEB motor for
It's our
everything.
new performance engine, really efficient and much more power than before. Yes.
Yes, certainly much more efficient, and the power, we'll certainly experience it, but 210 kilowatts is pretty good. Almost 300 horsepower, 280 roughly, something like this.
286.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll take it on the Autobahn and hit a top speed really quick. May as well. We're here in Germany.
Yeah, and we should switch to sports mode when we are on the.
Yeah, when I can
on
turn
the
the car
Autobahn.
on. So now it's on. So now I'll be
Yeah.
able to.
Now you can
Yep.
switch. Yeah.
And of course, individual settings,
Yes.
we can go in. You have dynamic chassis control, so you can obviously firm the suspension all the way up or make it really squishy, because I think this is what comfort mode targets, and you can actually go even softer than comfort
Yes,
mode.
you can.
So that's always cool. This is how I keep our ID.3 that we're driving this week, so it absorbs everything. And then, we have it the other way when we want to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
fast. I don't do anything in the middle.
A big difference. Yeah.
Huge difference, and
But you
it's
should
so
just
fast.
feel comfort.
Yeah.
Inside, and this is one of the
Yeah.
main points you could use for that.
And there's also, steering controls. You can change the sportiness of the drive motor, but also exterior engine sound. This will be... Okay, we have to try this one. Okay, it sounds interesting. But then there's also your IQ light and all these cool things that the thing can do. So let's start in comfort mode. We'll drive normally. The range on this model in WLTP is what exactly?
621 kilometers.
And then there will also be a larger battery with 92 kilowatt hours.
Net.
Yep.
Yes. And we will have a range of 700 kilometers.
And that's the number that you have to hit. I think for a lot of people, which is so funny because most Germans don't go anywhere. They stay very close by.
Yeah.
So, but everyone wants to have the most amount of
Everyone
range.
wants to be able to do.
Yes.
It's only to, so kind of, I don't know. They love to be able to.
So everything operates just like ID.4. You put your foot on the brake, the vehicle's on. You don't have to use the start button. You really just use this if you leave someone in the car and you run out. This can keep it running as an example. But there's also B mode for extra recuperation or regeneration. And then D mode is going to be more normal. So let's start in comfort mode in normal drive. My first time driving the ID.7. The initial impression is it's quite long. This is a big car.
It's almost 5 meters long, and which is only 8 centimeters shorter than a Phaeton. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So it's almost the same length as a Phaeton.
And it has a higher length than the current ID bus.
Oh, than the Euro ID bus.
The short one, yeah. The wheelbase is the same, so you have plenty of space.
So is that like
here.
a 3-meter wheelbase, roughly?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's crazy.
That's what we can experience here, definitely. Yeah.
So footprint-wise, this is the same as an ID bus, but in this sort of I don't want to necessarily use the word luxury, but very premium executive sedan. The seats are amazing.
We earned a prize about this is a premium car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won.
Yeah, that's
Just
great.
Last 2 days I was there.
And what exact award was that? European Car Awards or
It was
something like that?
German Car of the Year, and we won the section of premium cars.
Ah, well, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
amazing. And so how do we actually turn the massaging seat on? It's this button down here, right?
No,
Okay.
I would prefer to go like the climb menu.
Yeah.
Choose your seat, take massage, and then
Oh, wow. Look, you got that's
So-
the most amount of massaging options I've ever seen.
I haven't counted it. I think it's about 12. And you have not only your back seat, you have the
So you have your
the
butt
seat
and
as
the
well,
back.
the butt and the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it keeps you awake as well. It's not only for relaxation when we use this one, but I think we are in a prototype right now. And
Yeah.
maybe we
Yeah, it may
cannot-
not be fully active
yeah,
in this
we
one.
cannot use it completely. Yeah.
This is just one of the very few ID.7s that are available because start of production is when?
So we started already, but we have the market introduction at the end of the year.
End
So
of the year, roughly.
we have
Mhm.
to work with the prototypes still.
Yeah, okay, cool. But that's awesome that there's so many different adjustments for the seat. Also, air conditioned seats I have on right now.
Yes,
And
yeah.
it's automatically on, I believe.
I
which
think
is
the
very cool.
sensor recognized that maybe it,
That was
it
warm,
would be
yeah.
nice to have it a bit colder. And you have a dry mode as well. If it recognizes that your shirt maybe is sweat, and then it will dry automatically.
Yeah, so this seat's not, actually it is connected, but this is really cool that when you hit dry boost, it will just and cool you off and dry you off.
Yes, and dry. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is a good feature.
I don't think I've ever seen that feature before. So anyway, let's try not to run over this guy here, but we can always push him a little bit out of the way.
Let's try
Okay.
the signal. No.
Yeah. Turn the exterior engine sound to sport. So no rear steering in this one then, but really good turning radius.
Oh, this is
Wow.
crazy. You always think I'm in such a long car and I have no chance to reach this entry of maybe a parking house or
Yeah,
parking
yeah.
garage, and you can do it. Just turn, and there's always some more centimeters which you can go to left or right.
And this was the most crazy part when I first drove the ID.4 was how sharp it turned. I did not expect the ID.7 to have this same really sharp turning radius. So I just want to get the map set so I'm not going crazy. So 2D, auto zoom, I think we're good. Right, let's not run anyone over.
And we have some recommends like here's a charging station, here's something for food, but it will only tell you to go there if it's necessary.
Right, sure. No, that's great. Here we have a...
Use your sharp.
Yeah, we'll use the really sharp turning here. Yeah, that's right. If you don't expect it to be able to turn so sharp,
It's,
that's amazing.
thanks to the MEB platform, the front wheels are really wide in the front. So
Yeah.
we have short overhangs. And
The seatbelt's just pulled as we exited out, so that's
we are
nice.
safe here.
Yeah, cinches up. But I don't think ID.4 does this.
I don't think. I don't
think,
know.
Yeah, just ID.7. So Alyssa drives an e-tron, and the e-tron does this
Okay.
as well.
Yeah.
So it is definitely... The first thing as well is like it feels really quiet in here. Like I
Oh,
know
yeah.
we're not driving anywhere, but just exterior sounds.
Yeah, but everybody tells us that
Yeah.
it's kind of really silent, and when you go on the autobahn and you just drive, and
You hear nothing.
nothing, but
Yeah, you hear
it's,
of
it's
course.
really nice inside. Yeah, we could try to.
Ah, yes, now the roof can go.
Yeah, and you can tell Ida as well to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what I would name Ida, but you can name it anything, so this could be kind of funny.
So may I find a really funny name for this one? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I have an idea, because with this camouflage outside, the covers concept is always Pixie.
Ah,
We-
Pixie, yeah.
Call them Pixie, and we had this one from Las Vegas, which was lighting on itself in the
Yes,
painting.
we were
This
there
is-
for this one,
this
yeah.
is Blinky.
Oh, that's Blinky.
Yeah, so we
So you have Pixie,
differentiated.
this one's Pixie.
Yeah, it's because
and
it's only stickered with the camouflage.
Right, but the
yeah.
same design.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the one that we filmed in Las Vegas was
Blinky.
Blinky. So Blinky and Pixie. I love it. That's amazing. I hope someone buys an ID.7 one day and does this same wrap.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see that.
Yeah, that'd be
Many
so cool.
people ask for it.
Yeah,
We
offer
will
it.
bring it. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a little bit too crazy for
Yeah.
Volkswagen. But you know, what's cool about driving this car is, first of all, there's not that many electric sedans coming into the market. It's a big SUV market, especially in America. And this car has already been confirmed and is coming to America.
Yeah.
And what we don't know yet is if we're going to get the biggest battery in our market. So let's hope, because I think if there's ever a market to need the biggest battery, it would be us.
It would be the US.
Yeah, so that would only make sense to me, really. But now we have people driving through middle of intersections. Things are crazy here in Munich during IAA. But let's head out here. Really good, throttle application. Just a little bit of pedal gets us moving, but it's nicely tuned. ID Buzz on the left over here. Very boring spec in that one, all white.
Oh yeah, all white. I don't like it so
No,
much.
you got to get the two-tone orange, and yeah, I don't know.
What's your favorite color?
Alyssa and I were talking about this because I think we're going to get a Buzz in the US, and we're like, what color should we get it in? And it's got to be a fun one. I actually like the yellow quite a bit.
Yeah, me too.
What do you
Yellow
like,
and
Alyssa?
there's
Yeah, I like the yellow, I like the orange. You like the navy, but we can't do navy. That's too
Right,
boring.
yeah.
So,
But there is something that's kind of similar to your
the
shirt.
green one, yeah.
More like the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one as well.
So it looks like we're going to jump onto the highway here. So let's go here. Let's put it into sport mode. And did you put the car in English just for the American folks that are coming through?
No, we have the whole day for international
in English,
guys.
okay.
So
Yeah,
we prepared for our international media.
this will be fascinating. And so now the noise.
Oh yeah, now you have this.
This is okay. It sounds just like the e-tron noise, actually. I don't know if it's the same noise.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, but it's very similar. Sorry, Ida, I'm not talking to you. Head-up display, huge, of course. The arrows with this augmented reality working great. We'll come onto the highway. We'll get about 50 kilometers per hour, and then we'll give it the beans and see how the rear-wheel drive does. So you guys holding on? Ready? Let's go. Instant response, super smooth power delivery. Coming right up now. We're technically de-restricted, and then it goes to 120, and we're on the brakes. But it pulled really nicely all the way up to that point. Like, the all-wheel drive is going to have a lot more power.
Yes.
Close to 340, 350 horsepower or something. I think that's probably the right amount of power for this car, but overall, very impressive here. Now, in sport mode, I can feel the suspension's quite firm at the moment. So let's try going into comfort mode and instantly smoothed out a lot of these imperfections. It's actually almost a little bit floatier than I imagined. It almost feels like we're on air suspension rather than a steel suspension. So this is really kind of interesting. And we will engage travel assist, which you no longer have to hit the travel assist button for anymore. It now remembers your last use setting. The steering wheel's options are also slightly different than the previous MEB models. You now control your head-up display with this touchpad and everything here, and then you have track left and right and volume up and down over here. I think maybe we should go back to sport mode because there's technically no speed limit. Let's go to top speed in the ID.7. Full send, 150 kilometers an hour, passing 100 miles an hour now. 170. We're just cruising at 180 kilometers per hour now. No problems at all. So quiet, so stable. I mean, you could do this all day, not even thinking about it. I like how some guy in this 2 Series Active Tour is cruising at 170. Welcome to Germany. It's great. People are getting out of the way. So there is is the correct word like Uberhold Prestige or something like this, where you have this like overtaking, image. You know this one?
So when we go on the left lane, or what
Yeah.
do you think? You can just
Do
take
a
some
little
system
fun,
and then-
yeah.
So when you see an Audi or Mercedes or Porsche,
Yeah.
you will immediately turn to the right.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, driving the ID.3 versus the Porsche is different.
Okay, full send in the ID.7. What our audience really cares about is efficiency and range, and no, we want to go fast. 183 coming into a speed restricted zone now. Brakes feeling nice and strong, but it does have a very similar feeling brake pedal to like ID.4 and ID.3. It's the same strategy, which I actually think is probably not the best brake pedal feel in the business.
You're the only one who's doing that.
Yeah, I wish it was. Actually, I think some of these originally, I would say brake-by-wire is not the answer, because this is using like an iBooster type situation. However, like driving the new Polestar and even the new Audi, the full-size e-tron, the Q8, they did a really good job with the brake pedal tuning, and I hope that could make it here one day. But the brake pedals, once you live with it, it's fine. It's not really a problem, because when you really stand on the brakes, it builds up pressure, it gets ABS perfectly, and it gives you confidence.
Yeah, you can get used to it, and maybe then you will not even recognize it.
Sure. And if you drive in B mode like this, you get a lot of off-throttle regen, which is really wonderful. And, we have our power output and regen gauge here in front of me. I have all the information I need, but I actually find myself really most of the time looking at the head-up display, which is, a great head-up display. Same one that's in ID.3, ID.4.
And this is the change display concept, which we brought in this car because we wanted to work with this 15-inch display, a really tiny one behind the steering wheel, and you can only concentrate on the street and have this HR head-up display and work only with this. And
yeah, because I've even noticed, like, when you take an exit, it'll show the exit off in the distance over here. So this is really quite something interesting. I assume we should follow the navigation instructions here. So we will do just that. Steering is super light. The steering wheel feels really nice. I think Volkswagen has always had, especially with the ID models, one of the best steering wheels in the business. And I believe this one is now leather-free.
This one is leather-free.
Yep, and it feels great. I actually prefer it to the real leather one personally. And if you remember, like when ID.4 first edition launched, they had the white steering wheel.
Yes.
And this one, they all look terrible now because everyone has sweaty hands and dirty hands. And
it was like the concept to feel inside like you're at your home, and you should feel like bright interiors and feel like on your sofa at home and just relaxing in your car.
Yeah.
So we like to have it here, but I prefer the dark ones as well because the car is always emotional, and you have to use it. And
yeah, it looks good on day one when you have the right steering wheel, but maybe on day 400, not so much. So, okay, initial impressions. There's so much to tell you about. I actually think the US for the first time will get dynamic chassis control on an electric Volkswagen with this car. So that's quite exciting because the range of adjustability seems to be massive. I mean, to go from super soft in comfort mode, it got way more comfortable than I was expecting over some of these bumps. Almost this like floaty, I don't want to say like 70s Cadillac, but it was really good. And then in sport mode, it was actually kind of firm. So I was impressed with this range of adjustment. The noise performance is really good as well. The head-up display is great. The cabin size is great. It's a big car. Alyssa, you want to give us a quick backseat review?
I mean, there's plenty of room back here, super comfortable. I'm also sitting in the middle seat, so I don't get the full experience, but the middle seat is actually comfortable.
Yeah.
We made this compromise because our roof is a bit higher than some of our competitors, and we have a bit less of CD value due to this, but our engine will bring everything back, and all this efficiency things we grabbed out on it like a squirrel looking for nuts. Yeah,
right,
this is what they did.
Found efficiencies everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. It's so tiny things that they found, like weight and more efficiency in the battery, and aerodynamics are really important in the engine as well. So everything in total, brings us to this efficient motor. And one thing I wanted to add, because of our highway drive. When you are developing the engine, you always have this WLTP numbers you should hit. And of course, everybody does it. But what was really important for our developers, and they definitely prioritized, was the efficiency on the Autobahn. So we have this 130 kilometers per hour, which is a standard thing for Germany and Europe, and this is the most efficient mode you could drive with this car.
Really?
So it's for the real life developed.
That's
for
amazing.
The people who use it.
So for like balancing everything, if you drive roughly, let's say 80 miles per hour for us, this is where that car comes alive.
Yes.
So everything is geared for this, because when you buy an ID.7, this is not meant to be your city car. I mean, it can be. It's got a great steering ratio, but really the ID.3 is perfect for that, or even the new ID.2 All. This is meant to do the long distance trips, the Munich to, Wolfsburg or Stuttgart to Berlin. And so having something like this makes so much sense. I could really see this car fitting in this market. And here's another car that I really like. This is the Arteon shooting brake or sport wagon, whatever you call it. We had one on test. Yeah, the shooting brake. We had one on test a couple years ago here, and it was just like, bring it to America. But we have the Arteon hatchback in America, which is actually really similar in size to this car. What's your impression on that?
I think it's more flat, and we are 80 millimeters higher than in a Passat or in an Arteon, so you have a better overview of everything.
Yes.
And you can feel inside here a bit more space. This is our car where you maybe could bring a bride to her wedding, because
there's so much room.
We'll fit inside, and before it was kind of not so possible. Yeah, and of course I'm really proud of the whole package and everything we brought here into a BEV. So we have now an electric vehicle, which brings all of the specifics, and great to see this ID family growing.
Yep, I totally agree. But this Arteon, my only concern with this car in America, by the way, putting the damper all the way to soft is so comfortable. And then just the range of adjustment. Let's go all the way to firm. Wow, instantly firms up. Maybe somewhere like here is nice. This feels like a good balance, something like this for this road. The Arteon in America never sold well. It was a car that people didn't really even know existed. There was not much marketing behind this car. They kind of sat at dealers' lots. It didn't fit in so much. And here now we have a motorcycle coming right for us. This guy's crazy.
Germans.
Crazy Germans, but that's okay. We had room, so we made it work. I know, I like how that scared you. But for me, I'm like, oh, okay, we'll move over a little bit. What's interesting about this car in America, I don't know what people are going to think. Because for me personally, it's not a car that I personally would need. Now, what's interesting is I drive a Tesla Model S, which is a similar sizing car, of course. And here I am saying I don't understand why we need more sedans in America. But so maybe I just need to think more introspectively. But I already know like 5 or 6 really close friends of mine that absolutely cannot wait to get their ID.7. Like they will be on the list and the first to go for them. And one of them, is like owns a Tesla now and has just fallen in love with this car. And I don't really know why, but he really loves it. Yeah. So there is enough of a sedan market. I think it's 15% of our market actually are sedans still.
Yeah, it is.
And, of course, this is going to be replacing the Passat in the US. We don't have the Passat anymore. And so this is now the long-range electric Volkswagen sedan. And I think it has the potential to do really well, especially if it can hit 300 miles EPA, which it has to, I think, in order for it to do well. So time will tell. I hope we get the big battery in the US. 200 kilowatt charging. The big battery is going to be epic. This one now driving the middle-sized battery. I guess we could say the 77 kilowatt hour usable battery pack with this rear motor is plenty powerful. The car is really a lot quieter, a lot softer, a lot more premium than I was expecting in terms of the chassis control and driving, because it's a new character to MEB that we haven't seen before. The ID Buzz drives great, but it's not really the most luxurious experience. The ID4 actually, even in the GTX trims, the all-wheel drive has this sporty edge to it. This just feels like you can set the travel assist, get the massage seat going,
and just relax and go where you want.
Yeah.
And this is what I wanted to tell you as well, because the development of the whole DCC and all the comfort drive modes, and I know is they gave me a call before our cover drive was, and they said, okay, you have to tell the journalists because we put it in much more than we should have. So please tell them to try out all the modes from comfort to sporty, and we have so much in there. And I'm really happy that you recognize it on your own, and every journalist before did it. So this is kind of impressive, and I hope we can talk about it much more.
Yeah.
In the future.
It would be great to meet with some of the engineers one day and talk about the design choices, why they made the car the way it is. But there's so many stories that always can come up, but I can't thank you enough for letting us go for our first drive in the ID.7. It's got plenty of power. It's really unbelievably comfortable. I think the only downside to this whole car, which is not really a downside, but the only, I would say, drawback is it's because it's not an 800 volt system architecture, you can really only charge at 200 kilowatts, which is good charging speed, but not the best.
Yeah, so we are up to 25 minutes from 10 to 80%.
Right, the curve is really
But
good.
you should just try the multi-stop route planner, and then you can have your shorter stops and have one time 10 minutes, one time 5 minutes, and then you will be in freedom wherever you want and have 50 kilometers left and can find your
Yep.
charging station. So what I love about the car is the package. So they have some compromises, but in total we have just a great car with quality inside. We have a good design here. It's really comfortable. You have some premium features you don't have to use, but you can, and we come up with this big range, and you can just go and feel good inside and bring some people. So
Yeah.
I always say my job is kind of easy with this car.
Yeah, there's not much you have to make up for. There's no
Because-
big gotchas here.
Yeah, we have a better processor behind here, a new software generation, and yeah, we listen to our customers and to the critics and the journalists, and we really tried to bring in whatever we could, and what is not in here now, we are working on it.
Yeah,
You
I
can
think
really-
the only problem. Okay, so now now that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't have 4 window switches. You only have 2.
You got me.
Yeah. So that's the one problem with your job. That's the only issue really, is the 2 window switches. But thankfully you can hold the rear button down, and then the driver's side controls all 4. But yeah, that's pretty
But
interesting.
in the pipeline, we have some more buttons in the car, so we are working on that 4
Okay.
window opener.
But
and
it's so
we are
funny
working
how it
on the
didn't make
steering
it
wheel as well.
In time for start of production for this one. Yeah.
We just
Yeah,
didn't
because
make it in
also
time.
this capacitive buttons, you think they'll go to physical ones one day?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get back to this.
I actually like the capacitive ones. I'm weird, but because you can swipe on them, I think a lot of journalists think you have to hit them, but the swiping action's really nice,
Yeah, I
especially
do it
like
as well.
here we're at 74 kilometers. I can just swipe up
I
and down.
only
It's
drive with the steering wheel. I don't touch the
pedals.
gas pedal. Yeah.
Same.
I only use this when I go with travel assist.
Yep.
No chance to get to the rudder control.
Travel Assist is an awesome system, and you can lock it to the right side or the left side of the lane as well, which I don't think enough people realize, because that's one of the nicest features. If you're passing a truck, you can just scoot you over to the right and then it'll stay locked in. And yeah, overall, super impressed here. I mean, I kind of came in with higher expectations because there's some other great EV YouTubers that we follow, like Bjorn Nyland. I don't know if you know Bjorn, but
Yeah.
Bjorn Nyland, I guess Nyland is how you say his last name, but Bjorn drove this and was blown away. And he said it was just great. And I thought, okay, well, I'll try it out. Let's see. It really is great. I mean, it's way more car than I was expecting. So almost could put an Audi badge on it, but we won't say that too loudly. So thank you all for joining us on the driving portion. Let's go back. We'll explore a little bit more software stuff, and then we'll end the video of the first drive of the ID.7. I almost called it the Passat, the electric Passat. The ID.7 is yeah, big, floaty, comfortable, ready to do the long distance drives.